It's called being horny. It's not horny. I know horny. They're taking an entire lecture series on horny. They have lecture series on horny?
Ugh. Yeah, we're getting age restricted for this one. Mods. Ever since I was a young tyke, I've had a deep obsession and love for mods. Weapon mods, armor mods, graphic mods, satire mods, complete overhaul mods. Mods hold a very special place in my heart. A peak medium for someone who's experienced in the game engine to express their love and interests further in the form of new content for a game that they love. What an absolutely amazing concept. Unless you monetize them. Nexus Mods is a domain I check every single day religiously like it's the news. The amount of creativity I see on there on a daily basis rivals even some game developers. With over 3,500 games, 150,000 creators, and 60 million members, there is always something in this beautiful place to appeal to anyone for the better or for worse. But what does every single game on the Nexus have in common? Gooner mods. Now listen, my intention with this video isn't to judge, and it's mostly in good fun. And I'm definitely not a psychiatrist, but seeing the mass amounts of explicit content on nearly every mod page had me using my big ol' brain to ponder the mindset and the effects of having it. But I couldn't do it alone, and certainly not without help. For my research, I hopped in my shitty Nissan Sentra, and I traveled far and wide across the Gooner Nation, meeting and conversing with tribe elders, learning their beliefs, desires, and what exactly made them tick. AKA, I just put a Q&A across multiple different mod pages, but that sounded much cooler, right? I also want to quickly mention that this deep dive is inspired by Ozymandias and his Kanye video. Really interesting stuff, I recommend checking it out. Now, before we start, I've always hated this discourse. I've never been known to be tactful when it comes to speaking on sexuality, and it forces me to think about what makes people horny. However, there have been too many common examples of just bad eggs in this industry. So I'll try to play nice. And I'll hold myself to that, because a lot of the comments I got were very self-aware. But we'll get into it. So I posted across multiple different mod pages with 8 different questions. And not to my surprise, the most active mod page and the most answers I've gotten were from the Monster Hunter Wilds page. I've been playing it, and so have millions of others, so we're going to go through my questions, and I'm going to pick out some of my favorite answers, and we're going to talk about it. So just to start off, I gave a simple, how do you feel sexual mods enhance your experience? And I surprisingly got a lot of varied answers, and we'll get into that. Okay, so for this individual with poor English here, unfortunately, he went on to explain that he doesn't like the overtly sexual nature of the mod or the nudity. He actually likes the more skimpy clothing, which I suppose I can respect. I mean, he likes seeing his character in a bikini. Who am I to hate? Okay, this guy is giving himself the okay, because supposedly his wife does the exact same thing and she's okay with it. And one common theme you'll notice between all these answers is that these people like having more control over their female characters. And this person explains in detail that despite the original dev's intention, aka not having their female characters be well endowed or nude, that he likes having his characters look like that. Which, I mean, fair point. All power to him. Okay. Now this guy almost made me rethink my entire fucking video. And he's the most honest of the bunch. He goes on to say, I'm a Coomer, not a Gooner, but I'll chime in.
Just kill me already. I'm a villain, not a monster.
Okay, I'm gonna be so real. I did not know what the difference was, and that's why this comment cracked me up so much. So I consulted the tomes and the Elder Scrolls, if you will, also known as Urban Dictionary. And a Coomer is someone who is addicted to masturbating, while a Gooner is someone who's addicted to pornography. Jesus fucking Christ. Nice debut video, Jacob. But that being said, both definitions involve consuming endless amounts of porn, so I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. And one interesting point that he made is that it's an importance of aesthetics. But I also don't know what point he's trying to make when telling me to go look at the Leon Kennedy mods for Resident Evil 4. I'm not sure, maybe he's trying to advocate that it also happens for male characters, I'm not exactly sure, maybe someone can chime in. I do like how honest his responses are though, so from now on we're showing his first. My second question covered whether or not it was a form of escapism or a creative outlet. First off, starting with Coomer not Gooner guy, he just likes looking at titties and asses. Super simple, moving on. Next up we got a double whammy here with the double stroker Joker, and he says it's a bit of both and it's a way for him to express himself through his character. Great stuff. Now I'm not going to show the rest of the answers for this question because they were all pretty similar and basically a rehash of all the same things, but essentially each player felt like it was a way for them to express themselves, and it was a bit of mix of both in the escapism department and that being a creative outlet. Just all pretty similar answers overall. Oh boy. Alright, next up I asked whether this was a medium to explore their own personal fantasies. First up we got the Coomer Gooner, and he just says, no. Straight to business. Like it. Moving on. Now this next comment I really love. Not only is this guy aware of the unrealistic body standards he's seeing, but he also doesn't translate his gratification for it to real-life women, really going against the grain and beating the stereotype that usually surrounds gooners and women. Now this guy gave a fucking based answer. He said in a fantasy aspect, it can enhance your gameplay if the character looks like you. So I could see where he's coming from. Giving yourself a humongous fucking cock or big ass tits. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm with it. Now this next question I felt was pretty simple. Are they just gooning, or do they got like a fucking Elden Ring lore tab for why their baloney pony is out? Now quite literally everybody responded to this question personal gratification. They be jerking it. But this guy, he added a little bit of lore to his game. He said those from the colder regions might have a bit thicker schmeat. I fuck with the creative writing aspect. We love to see it. Now this next question is a hot one, and I knew I would get some hot answers, but oh boy, this is a doozy. I asked if there were ethical considerations for creating and using said mods. Here's what they had to say. I do have to admit, when I made this question, I made it a bit of a setup. I personally believe there's a wrong and right answer. Here's the one I believe is correct. I don't think anyone should care about the ethics of what people decide to do in their own homes, as long as it's not illegal. I think this is 100% true. However, there are caveats. I don't think anybody should be tampering with the face models of real-life actors or actresses within their games. I think it's gross, I think it's weird, and I think it just subjects them to something that they personally never asked for. I think also, given within a certain story context, things shouldn't be touched with a 10-foot pole. I teased this a little bit earlier, but this specific mod for Silent Hill 2 I absolutely despise. If you know the context of the story, you know how fucking weird this is. While some already have taken this into account, Others unfortunately have preconceived notions that because it's digital, anything goes. Kind of piggybacking off my points earlier, I asked them how they keep their gooning life and their personal life separate. Reading this comment was a bit of a hoot, because bro gave me like a fucking JoJo Part 4 slice of life. What's it like to be a gooner, a part-time gooner, and then he added in, full-time job gooners, answer here. As if maybe full-time job gooners might have a harder time differentiating between their digital media and reality or something? I don't know what he meant by that. Okay, when I first started this essay, I do have to admit, I may have came in a little bit arrogant. To be completely honest, I've never interacted with this side of the Nexus. I've always seen it, but I've never, truly interacted with it. I promise I never interacted with it. That being said, I'm getting lots of good ethical answers. Most of these people either just want to jerk it to their characters, or they just like admiring them in their birthday suit. This person says, I think you should be able to understand the difference between reality and fiction. Using mods like this shouldn't warp how you perceive other people. If it does, then that's a problem with the individual and not the duty of others to protect people from themselves. I think this is an amazing answer and opens up a whole conversation about responsibility, addiction, and not letting any of those tendencies destroy you. Scragsbuck's badge of approval. Same deal with this guy. He explains that his lust never leaves the house. Everything is confined within the habitual masturbation habitation. Next, I wanted to find out exactly how nudity and body modification lets them express themselves in games. Back up on deck again, we have the Coomer Gooner, and he's all business. He might be the tyrant of the titty tomb, the breast brigader even, the bourgeoisie of the boobie, if you will. Okay, I'm done. This person says he likes to play hypersexualized characters, but he has a hard time sometimes finding games that fulfill that purpose. Well, yeah, I kind of assume so. I suppose that's what the mods are for. Man of the people hath spoken, and he's revealed that he loves seeing characters come in all shapes and sizes and seeing the personal tastes of other players. And for my final question, I asked the players how they personally feel about their mod usage. Now I've saved the greatest for last, because these are without a doubt the best responses I've gotten. Now we got a guy who thinks he's the modern day Leonardo da Vinci because he doesn't goon to this sort of thing, he just likes to appreciate the human body. Come on bro, you're fucking up my video, the whole point is about gooners, come on now. Okay, now this one genuinely had me perplexed. This guy goes on to explain that he has 1100 hours in a game called RimWorld, and the only reason he played it is because he saw a mod that makes the characters sexy. So I looked up a video of RimWorld, and bro, this is what you're gooning to? And finally, to finish it off, the Coomer Gooner comes back once again to say that he's neutral about the way he feels. Some people will call it based, others will call it cringe. If it's a vice to look at huge titties, then it's a vice that I indulge in. Well, Coomer Gooner, cringe or based, that's a real as fuck answer. And I appreciate every single one of you who read my questions and left me a response. This video took, honestly, way too much time, and it being a debut video, I'm not sure if it was the right topic, and I think I'm just left with more questions, like, what hand do you guys play with? Are there specific games you guys seek out that are better for these types of mods? And what's your guys' opinion on VR? With that, I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, like it. If you didn't, don't even worry about it. I'm sure I offended somebody. But yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep now.
You gotta stay relaxed.
Yeah.
You jerk off?
Do I jerk off? Yeah. Yeah, I jerk off, yeah.
How many times a week?
Like, three or four times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket. I myself, I jerk off at least twice a day.
Wow.
Once in the morning, right after I work out, and then once right after lunch.
Really?
Okay? I want to. That's not why I do it. I do it because I fucking need to.